Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. How you all doing? Pressure mounting on Erik Ten Hag as the next upcoming fixtures and results are very, very important. Will he get the job done? He has to deliver. It's time to deliver for him. We have a lot of Manchester United news. We're going to get into a Manchester United and Tottenham preview. If you can smash the like button for me real quick, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. It takes 2 seconds of your time and it massively helps the channel out. So do that if you're like the content and all that stuff. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Join our wonderful community. We have wonderful discussions every live show. So we're always here. We're always going live. We're always live after the match after the match as well, doing a match recap. So join us for that as well. But let's get straight into it. And Erik Ten Hag did his press conference the other day, and he did confirm that it will be the same squad for Spurs. There are no returns and injuries, unfortunately, and we are still missing a couple players that we need to get back. So, I think that's a little bit unfortunate, but we have a strong enough squad right now to compete anyway. We should be able to get the job done. And as we talked about last time, we are slightly underperforming. We're creating good chances. We're playing decently well enough, at least for 45 minutes or so. I think if we could get the goal or a couple extra goals than we've been doing, we would put ourselves in a better position. So we need to just get that. But that goes well into the next thing that Erik Ten Hag said, which is he was asked about the inconsistency that we've talked about a lot on this show. And Ten Hag said, of course, it's not good behavior from me. I am impatient. I want to go straight forward, but also be fair. We had success in the last 2 seasons, and we have to work very hard for more success. So I think for Erik Ten Hag, I think that it was a good answer because it kind of hits the notes of the fans' sentiment, I guess. How the fans are, the mindset of the fans a little bit, because a lot of our fan base, I would probably say a majority of the fan base, we're also impatient. To be fair, we are impatient. There's not a lot of us that are too patient. We also want to go straight forward. But he keeps mentioning, the last 2 seasons we've had success in terms of the trophies. He's going to keep saying that because it's an important thing for him. It's, his success rate for it, and he has to keep mentioning it because it is important. But he was then asked on, should Manchester United be further forward than they currently are, and he says, you have to assess the situation. Still, we are working and progressing. We made a choice to sign very young players, like last year with Højlund and this year with Xerxes and Lenny Yoro. We believe in them for this moment and also the future. But also I am patient. I want to go straight forward. That it goes into the same quote, but we had success in the last 2 seasons. So yeah, I mean, there is this aspect, again, and I keep mentioning it because I believe it is a very important factor, and I feel like it's something that not a lot of people are really considering. I don't know why. It seems more of like a green light, red light situation, like a stop and go. There's no why can't we get this balance when we're discussing the manager and the team? It is Erik Ten Hag's 3rd season. But the squad itself, Manchester United, like the players and, Ineos and having a new hierarchy, it is in a rebuild and it is in what you would say phase 1. So while Erik Ten Hag is in his 3rd season, the rest of the club has gone back to phase 1. So we're in a little bit of a weird situation where people are looking at the manager and they're like, this is your 3rd season, you have to deliver. But at the same time, we have so many new things going on. We have a new direction. We're scouting younger profiled players. We're trying to actually build a real squad, something that we haven't had for 11 plus years. And it's a little bit contradictory to say that Erik Ten Hag has to kind of deliver immediately while the rest of the club has gone back to step one. It's a little bit of it just kind of contradicts itself. And I'm not saying, one way or the other is necessarily right. There's an opinion and there's facts for both sides. But I think the best approach would to just take it in as a balanced approach. You kind of have to mix both together. Like, Erik Ten Hag does need to get results. I'm one of these people that are saying that, we need to win against Tottenham, we need to win Porto, and we need to win, I believe we're playing Villa after. We need to win these matches because it's important for our position in the table and Europe, in the Premier League, and it's important for Erik Ten Hag, and it's important for the club for many, many different factors, confidence and just positions and stuff like that. But at the same time, we are going through, unfortunately, another process. I know the fans don't want to hear that. I know the fan base is tired of this reset and this we're rebuilding and stuff, but we never really did a real rebuild. This is probably the closest thing we've got to it, bar the manager. I mean, if we replaced Erik Ten Hag in the summer, which the majority of fans didn't want to do, we would be under a total rebuild. The story would be very different because everybody would be giving the manager a lot more leeway. But, Erik Ten Hag is just one man. There's 22 other players in the squad. Some of them are new, and they have to integrate. And we have a lot of new in the structure above Erik Ten Hag that are also just coming into a job and, kind of finding their feet and getting into their rhythm as well. So, yeah, just shout out to the chat real quick. Lyle's in here, Axe is in here, Stephanie, our wonderful moderators, in here. Good to see you guys. Axe is saying, I really want to trust and believe in this guy. I know impatience is building. I am willing to develop my patience with the situation, but they need to show team chemistry in the upcoming 3 matches. And I kind of agree. I agree with that sentiment, Axe. Like, I'm kind of in the same boat there. Like, I do really want to, I still trust Erik Ten Hag because I think, the fact that he can get where Manchester United's kind of been over the past 11 years. And I think that the fact that he can get us to win trophies in the current situation, even when we had a bad season, and you don't want to be just a cup team or a cup manager, right? But I think for Manchester United's current situation, the fact that he was able to get them over the line twice in 2 seasons, and especially last season, because last season was really bad, and he was still able to go and win the FA Cup. I still have the trust in this manager. My belief is waning a little bit, only solely because the results have not been very good, and what they're showing us on the pitch is not so encouraging. So if they can up, like you said, the team chemistry and just the performances, show a little bit of a stronger performance, get a couple runs, get a couple matches in where, let's win 3 on the bounce. Let's give us something to really grasp onto so we can back, because I think that's where, the impatience is coming from, is that we are just too far inconsistent, and there's nothing that, the fans, even the ones that have backed Erik Ten Hag, like myself and some of you in here, we're kind of sort of questioning now, because it's just not really looking too great, and the improvement needs to come, and it needs to come now. Unfortunately, I don't want to put added pressure on the Manchester United manager, because he has enough pressure as it is from the media, ex-players, and all types of outsiders from other clubs that want to see him fail and want to see him sack and want to see this club, in turmoil and failure. But the matter of it is, and I like to deal in facts, it is a fact. He needs to get these results. We need to start performing better than we have been, and it needs to start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a huge match. We're home, we're playing Tottenham, we're around the same position. We both need the 3 points, and Tottenham play good football. They play high pressing. It's going to be an intense match, I expect. And I think there's no better time than tomorrow to start, and with that match as the groundwork for we are going to start performing. I think if we could go out there and do a strong display and get a positive result, I think there's no better time than to do it tomorrow. So hopefully we can get the job done. Um, Ten Hag was also asked on what has gone wrong over the past two matches or so, and I would say, there's obvious answers to that, but he said not scoring goals, which was my obvious answer. That is the problem. The key area is to score more goals as a team. We have players across the team who have the ability to score. That is clear. You see all the opportunities we are creating, but we are not scoring enough. And I'm happy that Erik Ten Hag is actually being a little bit more forward in this press conference, and even after the match against Twente, he was a little bit more direct, a little bit more forward, because sometimes he doesn't give the most forward answers. Sometimes he gives answers, I don't know what it is. Either he's trying to protect the team, deflect, whatever it is, but it does frustrate the fans even more. But I'm glad he said this, because I've been saying this for the past at least 2-3 shows that we did, and it is the clear and obvious thing. I think in the past couple matches we've done enough where we've created big chances. I think we played decently well, at least if it's not for the full match, for one half where we could get at least 2 or more goals, and we're not scoring the goals. And you can't win matches if you're not scoring. I mean, you can have wonderful defense, you can have beautiful passing, but if you're not putting the ball into the back of the net, you will fail, because the other team will get an opportunity, and if they're a little bit more clinical than you on that day, you will be punished. And we've seen that against Twente. We didn't see it against Crystal Palace, because luckily, they couldn't score either. But against Twente, we were up 1-0. We took our foot off the gas, in my opinion, and we got punished. We ended up making a mistake. They took their opportunity. They scored, and then we struggled to create going from that point on. So, and Lyle is saying we need consistency. We need to see us winning games. That should be one. If we lose, that's fine, but we can't constantly take one step forward and 10 back. And I agree with you there. I think the 10 back is a little bit of an exaggeration, lie, but I understand what you're saying there. We the consistency is super important, and we need to be winning games that should be won. When we're playing well and we're creating enough chances and the ball should be being put in the back of the net, we need to be winning those matches. I still don't know how to feel necessarily about what's worse. When we go in the pitch and we put just a completely dreadful performance and we get completely outplayed and we lose the match, or we play a match where we play good enough and you feel like we should have more than we do, and then we end up either getting, a draw because we don't score enough, or it's only like a 1-0 win, and you kind of leave the match feeling like, yeah, it was good to get the 3 points, we got the win, but that display didn't really fill me with confidence. And the consistencies, when we go into each match, it's always different. You never know what you're actually going to get. You never know if Manchester United are going to turn up and play an absolutely brilliant game. You don't know if they're going to play an average game, or you don't know if they're going to play some type of just crap that you don't want to see. And, it is a big key factor in the impatience that's going on right now in the fan base. So we really need to figure this out. And again, I think tomorrow is a perfect opportunity for us to say we are here. This is our start. We have to start somewhere. And I think tomorrow, if we really can put in a good display against Tottenham Hotspur, and we're home, we're at Old Trafford, we need to put in a strong display, because if we don't win that match, right, if we draw, it'll be a little bit less worse than a loss. If we lose, the shitstorm that is going to come out of that loss is going to be detrimental across the club, everywhere. I mean, the fan base is going to be negative, the media is going to be negative, ex-players are going to be negative, everybody's going to be negative. It's going to be a horrid time, and we don't need that. We need positivity. We need positivity. So I really do hope, and I'm praying that Manchester United can go out and get a performance tomorrow. I hope Erik Ten Hag gets it right. I hope the team selection is good. I hope the tactics are good. I want to see a strong display tomorrow. I really am. Ray's saying we need the players to be clinical. We do. And I don't know how we necessarily, that's their job to do it. I don't really have the answers for it. I don't know how we figure this out because it's something that we've been struggling with. Erik Ten Hag's first season struggled. Last season we struggled with goals, and this season we're struggling with goals. So, and it was a theme that happened before Erik Ten Hag, where it wasn't on a consistent basis, but we did do periods where we scored lots of goals. Then we did periods where we couldn't score a goal to save our lives. So, this I think for me is probably the most problematic thing that Erik Ten Hag, has to figure out. It probably has to be on number one on the top priority because it'll just alleviate a lot of the other problems, and buy him more time to figure out the other problems that we have. But Erik Ten Hag after the FC20 match, he did say like he was highly disappointed the fact that we kind of went out there in the second half and we didn't do enough to go and score more goals. He wanted more goals. He wanted them to create more chances. The players didn't do it on the pitch. So what is the issue in the dynamic? Is it solely the players? Is it the managers not getting the message across to the players? Is he not getting them to understand correctly, exactly what they need to do? Is he not identifying key problems that would help the players score more goals? And it's not just him, it's also the coaching staff as well. But and Thomas Hobbs is in here and saying rebuild, the most overused word when results aren't going our way. I mean, I get that, and because I know what you mean. It is said a lot, and it is all over social media and stuff like that. But when you do view it, we are kind of in a rebuild. I mean, if you look at the club structure, and we have a technical director now. We have we have areas that we didn't have. We have people that we didn't have. These are people that are considered real football people in positions that we didn't have in the past. So in that aspect, I do see it as a rebuild. Also, the profile of players that we are bringing in, they're younger. So in that aspect, I do kind of see it as a rebuild. And we do, I was calling for a rebuild last season and the season before, because I don't think we ever built a proper team anyway, or prior to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos coming in. So, but I do understand, and I don't like to use it too much because it is kind of overused, Thomas. It is, and it's been overused a lot for us, especially for Manchester United fans over the past 11 years. But the way I see it is we never did it. We never properly did a rebuild. Every time Manchester United and the news comes out and we're in a rebuild, we never properly did the rebuild. We never did. Now some people might argue we're still not doing it because they wanted Erik Ten Hag sacked and they wanted a new manager. So there's a group of people out there that they don't even believe that we are in a rebuild right now, solely because we've kept Erik Ten Hag, and they think the way forward and the proper rebuild would be with a new manager and not with Erik Ten Hag, because they've seen enough from him and they don't think he's good enough. And that's fine if they hold that opinion. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of contrasting opinions, and it's a hot issue right now. And I don't know, I'm just really I'm just worried because I don't want the season to go to shit, and I'm worried. I am, because the performances haven't instilled confidence in me, and we have a lot of matches coming quick, and it can go really, really wrong really, really fast, which would be really, really bad. So I just hope that we can start somewhere. And Ray's saying that the players are not performing on the day. They aren't, but there's arguments. People will make the arguments out there that that also comes from Erik Ten Hag and the coaching staff. I mean, it is his job. He is the manager, and plus, his staff around him. That is their job to get them to perform on the day. And if they're not performing on the day, obviously you have to blame the players because they're on the pitch and they're the ones playing. But then also, the blame does go on to the manager as well. I mean, we can't just, it can't, we can't always be just so one sided. There is a balance. This is a team sport. It involves multiple different aspects and multiple different people. It's not just always just the players or it's always just the manager. It's both. So, as a team, Manchester United have to figure their shit out. Erik Ten Hag has to figure the shit out that he has to do, and his coaching staff have to figure it out. And the players have to figure it out. And Lai is saying we're in a better position now than we were 1 year ago with the structure. We just need to gel a bit more with Erik Ten Hag. And I agree with that. I think the structure is massively better right now the way we're going. We're just not seeing the results on the pitch. And that's why I'm hoping that we can get a couple run of games and like with good performances and good results, because it will just propel us up a little bit to where we are now. Because right now we're sitting in a position that doesn't look very good. The sentiment around the club is not very good. Fans are worried. Fans are being negative. And I'm not blaming them for being negative, because it's not, there's, if you're overly positive, then you're probably in la la land, because it's just not a factual thing. We are not in a good position and we're not putting in the greatest of performances. There are some positives to take in the matches that we played, but there's also negatives there contradicting the positives. So, and I would say, if it's not 50-50, it's probably a little bit more negative than positive. So we need to tip those scales back in so we can have something to grasp onto. And not just the fans, but the players themselves and everybody that's involved in the club. Ray saying need to drop the players that are not performing. Doesn't care who you are, how big your name is. And yeah, that's also another thing. I mean, we talked about that last time. And Erik Ten Hag kind of has to stop. That's one of the things that I think is kind of crippling him a little bit. The likes of, a Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, even though I think he's starting to play a little bit better than what he was showing us for quite some time. And anybody else, really. It doesn't matter who you are. But just players that, regardless of your name, if you're not having a good game, you're not having a good game, you get subbed off. You got to sub them off. You can't just keep them on the pitch because you think that, 30 seconds out of the 90 minutes, when they've played 70 straight minutes of crap, that they're going to find a moment of brilliance. I mean, he's shooting himself in the foot when he does that, because there's, like he keeps saying, we have a lot of players. There's players that need opportunities. There's players that want chances. And there's, a lot of opportunity on the bench that we can use, that somebody can, take their chance and opportunity and help the team in that moment. So we need to, he needs to stop doing that kind of overly favoritism type of thing, where he thinks Bruno Fernandes, where the guy hasn't put one good pass the entire match, or literally hasn't created anything or hasn't done anything, and he's going to keep him on the pitch, when we have 3 or 4 players that you could sub in. You could kind of change the players around. We have a lot of interchangeability, and he's not taking it. So I hope he doesn't. We do know he is a stubborn man. And that stubbornness can lead to his downfall. So, I hope it doesn't. Other managers have done it. I mean, it happened to Solskjaer. The fact that he decided to keep playing, Maguire at that period when Maguire was at his worst, and Maguire was captain and refused to drop him. We're seeing something a little similar to Bruno right now. He's not playing really good. The past 2 matches for me, he's been really, really poor. I think last match, Erik Ten Hag definitely should have subbed him off, and he didn't. He kept him on, and, he put him on the right wing, and it didn't help. It actually, in my opinion, probably made things worse, because Bruno was awful out there. And I don't like Bruno going on the wing anyway. Like, that's just not his position. We have people to play over there. And there was no need for it. Like, you take Bruno Fernandes out of the central attacking mid position. That's his position. It's always been his position. It's his best position. That's where he plays. That's where he likes to play, right? and you moved him out of there and put Mount in there because Bruno was playing like shit. And instead of taking him off, you put him on the right wing, and it just didn't make sense. So, um, let's see. Lyle saying defense has looked 10 times better this season, but the finishing is lacking badly, and we have to figure it out. And I agree, and that kind of brings me back to the first season, as where we were like very strong defensively, right? But we did struggle with the goals. We still did struggle with the goals. I mean, our goal difference wasn't the best out of the top teams where we finished, when you looked at the goal difference. And then last season, it was just a disaster everywhere, partly because of the injuries as well. But we struggled defensively and we struggled offensively. Right now, the defense seems to improved. Some we're back to, not as good as the first season, but better than last season. But we're still struggling for the goals. So it is a big, big issue. And I think if Erik Ten Hag can't figure this out, he will ultimately fail, because this is on him. At this point, he knows the team is not converting chances, and part of his job is to figure out how he gets these players to put the ball in the back of the net and convert the chances. Because I think we've improved in creating big chances. We're doing better in possession, albeit I would like them to move the ball faster. I think we could play quicker, but that is his job. His job is to get them to put to perform, and they're not doing it. So, in terms of goal scoring, Ray's saying he's positive for tomorrow. I mean, I feel slightly positive. I'm a little bit nervous because, again, I don't know exactly what we're going to get tomorrow. I don't. I wish I could say we're going to see a strong display tomorrow. I wish I could say that, Manchester United, we're going to win 2-0, 3-0. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I feel a little bit nervous because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, in my head, there's like 3-4 different scenarios. We could go out there, have a strong game, play good. Maybe we win 1-0, 2-1, something like that. We go out there and it's a draw, and both teams kind of a little bit lackluster. And a little bit disappointing. Or we could go out there, play completely like shit, something like we did to Liverpool, and just lose. I cannot say right now that, like, we're gonna be playing the way we're playing. Daniel's in here. Daniel's saying Ange picks players that fit his system, and Ten Hag picks his mates from his past clubs. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I mean, what players exactly? I get you trying to be conservative. What do you mean by he picks his mates? Like the lid, I think the lid is better than probably any of our center backs that we have. Him and Martinez, right? They're the two best ones. I think they fit the system the best. Who are you gonna pick over that? Um, and then who else do we have? Xerxes is the striker. Hoyland just came back from injury, right? So there's a little bit of dynamic there. It depends. I think if Hoyland scores a goal or whatever, or he starts performing a little bit better. But I think Xerxes plays well as well. I mean, he does hold up, and that fits the system that he's trying to play. I don't necessarily think that. I think the issue is more with players like that have been at the club, with like players like Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Anthony is his player. Where is Anthony? Anthony doesn't even play anymore. He's dropped Anthony completely. Anthony can't even get 5 minutes in a match anymore. So I don't necessarily agree with that, Daniel. Marlon Patel is saying, I think Ten Hag is getting too caught up in favoritism, which will make him lose his job if he doesn't change. And I agree with that a little bit more. I don't think it's necessarily, his past players, example, people that, like, were in his Ajax team necessarily. I think it's just certain players in the squad, like players that I've mentioned already, that, there was a time where, and I think it's a little bit less now, that people were asking for Marcus Rashford to be dropped out of the team because he was playing poor. And he didn't do it. And it's frustrating. And now Bruno Fernandes has played 2 matches really, really poor. And people are furious that, he's not even getting subbed off. It's one thing to drop him out of the team, but at least if you're going to start him and he's playing like shit, you got to take him out. And that goes for any player. It doesn't matter who you are. For me, I like Diego Dalot. Mazuari has been fantastic as well. But if they're on the pitch and they're playing like absolute dog shit, you got to take them off, regardless of who it is. Uh, the FA Cup win delayed his execution. Well, then I assume, Daniel, that you are a Ten Hag outer, which is fine. Um, but yeah, I mean, it did. I mean, not his ex. I don't think I wouldn't say delayed his execution, but it did stop him from getting the sack because I think if he didn't win that, he wouldn't be here right now. Um, but that doesn't mean that he's necessarily still going to fail. He still has opportunities to succeed right now. He hasn't failed yet. The last thumbnail on the last show after the last match, I did title it that Ten Hag is failing, because things aren't going well and we're not getting the results. So right now he is on the trajectory of failing, but I don't think you can necessarily say he has failed yet. I think it's too soon still, and there's a lot of results that if they go his way, the outlook will turn in the opposite direction. So Ray's saying the type of game when we was losing 3-0 against Spurs at halftime, then we finished 5-3. Yeah, I mean something like that would be great. We need to win 3-1. Listen, we need to win. You know, I'll take any scoreline at this point, to be 100% honest with you. And it's more about the display and the performance, but because we need the 3 points at the most. The most important, we need the 3 points. But I would love if we could get like a 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 even X, something like that, just to instill a little bit more confidence and positivity into the result. But really, at this moment in time, we just need to win the match tomorrow. We need to win the match tomorrow. We need to win the match against Porto, and we need to win the match after that, which I believe is Villa, if I'm not wrong. And that's the most important thing right now. And we kind of have to just, because we like you mentioned before, we do one positive thing and then we go into the next match and we kind of go 2-3 steps backwards, and we just need to take one step forward, go into the next match, take another step forward, go into the next match, take one step forward. We'll end up 3 steps forward, 3 matches in, and we'll be in a better position. So Lyle saying he read somewhere that United's XG finished at 1.51 for the season 23-24, and already for 24-25 we are at 1.55, which is good for 5 games. The XG has gone up. We are actually second in the Premier League for most squandered chances. I think Southampton is topping us. So we are the second worst in squandering big chances that we have created out of our XG. And that is the major problem. And that's why even Erik Ten Hag is saying we need to score more goals. Because we are creating the chances and to win the matches, but we're not taking them. We're not finishing our dinner, which is leading to these poor, results, and where we are in the position that we are in right now. We have to. I mean, we talked about it one time on the show. We don't deserve anything. We don't deserve to be in top 4. You have to earn the right, and you earn the right by playing well and getting and scoring the goals and putting in good performances over a consistent basis. Manchester United doesn't deserve anything. We don't deserve top 4. We don't deserve Champions League. We don't deserve to win the Europa League. We don't deserve to win the FA Cup. We have to earn that right. And right now, we're not performing well enough to earn that right. So we're not earning it. We are rightfully where we are because we're squandering the chances that we are creating. We are hurting ourselves. We are hurting ourselves. We are not going out there and getting completely outplayed and anything like that. We're not looking at the team saying like, oh, they're completely, way better than us. Obviously, other than the Liverpool match. But every other match that we played, there is not one team that we played that we looked at them and said, well, they were way better than us, like they're levels above us. No. But we just not getting the job done, and that's all it is. Axe is saying, oh no, never mind. Daniel's saying Tottenham can slice through United, and United will be looking for through balls over the defense. And I think that's pretty accurate, Daniel. I think they can slice through us. And I think, based on Spurs' high line and high defense, I think we will be looking for, through balls over the top of the defense. Now, I don't know because Postacoglu, he's not a dumb man, and I think he will be aware of that. So the game plan might be shifted slightly because we do have speed in behind. I mean, Marcus Rashford and other players. Um, and we are when we are afforded that space, and we are good on our day in terms of connecting those passes over the top. We are very very dangerous from that. So Ange might slightly change the tactics for that because he will be looking at that and he will be aware of that. So we might see something a little bit different, but yeah, I do kind of expect that as well. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was looking at the match, is that Tottenham, they do play very quick, they do play very high. It's going to be a very intense match. We're going to have to be up for it. And I do worry. I do worry because I don't, like I said so far, I haven't seen a full, complete performance from Manchester United this season, probably in quite some time. And, with the way Tottenham played their football, how long can we keep up if we're playing well? How long can we keep it up? I worry that if we don't do what we need to do and put ourselves in a good position, that somewhere along the line, whether it's the 60th minute or something like that, we will see a drop off on our team and we could get severely hurt and punished by that. So um but I do just want to keep going because there's a couple more things that we need to get into. So and then we'll get back into the Tottenham match as well. So Ten Hag did speak on Bruno Fernandes, who has been a big topic the past week or so. And he was asked about Bruno looking a little tired, which I do think he does look. He looks a little bit off it. I don't know what's wrong with him. His energy levels seem low. He doesn't seem himself. He's not playing well. He seems very very off. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it is fatigue from playing way too many matches. I don't know what it is, but he said, Erik Ten Hag said, I think I think the team brings him in a situation. I think he is capable, and he has proven already so many times in the Premier League. He can create many chances. I am convinced he will not do differently. He will come on this point. He will find his form. He is already creating chances, but he will make final passes. He will score goals. 100%. It is just a matter of time. So, if you're one of these people that you want Bruno Fernandes dropped, from that statement, you're not going to get it because he is going to continue. And I think obviously so. I think it was obvious without that quote that Bruno Fernandes is going to continue to play. My biggest thing is, and I understand that because if that's the point the manager wants to take. He is the captain. He thinks Bruno is a very important player to the squad. He creates good chances. Okay, he's in a shit patch right now. But the manager is backing him to get out of the shit patch. That's fine. You want to start him, you want to keep starting him, that's fine. But if we're in the match and he's playing absolutely awful, you have to sub him off. You have to. You cannot leave a player on the pitch that's playing the way he was playing for the past two matches. You have to sub him off. So you can give him the opportunity to turn it around. That's absolutely fine. Especially for a player like Bruno Fernandes, who has been important for Manchester United since he signed for the club. But you cannot just, be so stubborn into leaving him on the pitch when he has shown nothing for 70 minutes, 65 minutes. You have to pull him off if he's, absolutely awful, which I think he was, last match especially, and the match before that. And then Ten Hag also spoke on Xerxes, saying Ten Hag asked if he thinks Xerxes can be prolific, and he said, yes, I do. He is young. You see his capabilities. Very good link-up player. He is creative and his moments. The goal versus Fulham was a great action and finish. But in that area, he can definitely improve. He has some very good attributes. And, this is something I also said about Xerxes. I think everybody's saying, he's absolutely wonderful in his link-up play so far. I think he's been very important in that aspect. I think he's been doing a very, very good job in that aspect. And I did say last match his improvement has to come just with him in and around the box. Him getting on the end of those balls. Rashford had a very good take on one of the players. He did absolutely everything perfect. The ball into the box was brilliant. It was in the perfect position. It was the perfect pass. You couldn't ask for a better pass. Xerxes was a little late on his run, and he just was a split second behind and couldn't get his foot on the end of that ball, which he has to because you're a striker, and not only a striker, but if you're a striker at Manchester United, you have to be there and you have to be getting your foot onto the end of the ball because that is a goal. That is a goal every time of the week. That is a goal with your eyes closed. So I agree with Ten Hag here. I think, he's young. He has room for improvement. He has good capabilities so far. He's a very good link-up player. He is creative. He has good technical ability. And we will be watching and looking for his improvement. He's going to need some time, but, the faster the better. But obviously, first season at the club and young player. And he's going to have to continue to try and find his feet. So, and Ray saying we can play better against a team like Spurs. I think we can. I think it gives us the opportunity because Tottenham, there will be space in the match. There will be space for us. And I think our biggest problem is when we play teams that don't afford a lot of space. We struggle highly. We struggle to move the ball quickly. I think when we play a team like Spurs and there is space because Spurs will afford space, we do a lot better. We move the ball quicker. We're a lot more dangerous. So we can for sure. And Lyle's saying Xerxes is solid, but just needs to play a little deeper. Deeper, you mean like more forward, because or more backwards. Deeper, because deeper could mean dropping back more. But I think Lyle, I think you're saying a little bit more forward so that he's closer to the goal. But let me know. But yeah, but or you mean deeper, like I mean behind the striker. Yeah, I mean that could be a thing too. But let's see what happens because Højlund has just come back from injury, so maybe we do go down that route. The only thing is that there's still the issue with Bruno Fernandes then because what do you do with Bruno? Either you drop him into the midfield, right? And have him play in a deeper, like, lying playmaker role or something like that, right? Or the box to box or whatever. Or he's going to get pushed out onto the wing. But, there's so many options going on. What are you going to do? Drop Diallo to play Bruno on the wing? That's not something that's going to bode well with the fans. And I don't think it's a smart decision anyway because I think Diallo's playing well. Marcus has upped his game a little bit, so he's pushing to keep his spot. Garnacho's playing very well. He's pushing Rashford on that side as well, and he's pushing Diallo. They're all fighting for a position. Mount is back, and Mount was playing well before he got his minor injury. So, there's a lot of options, and there's a lot of different routes we could go down, which is actually good because the better competition we have, which means it's going to push the players to perform better. So, the only problem would be Erik Ten Hag. At the end of the day, because I do believe that he won't drop Bruno Fernandes, and he won't ever drop Bruno Fernandes because Bruno Fernandes is his captain, and that just seems like his philosophy, which can come to bite him in the ass and ultimately get him the sack at the end. So Lyle's saying that's probably in case if Bruno is subbed or not in the starting 11. Yeah, so we did get a little bit of an injury update as well on Euro, if you want to talk about this. So Ten Hag was talking about Euro, which we're all waiting to see. And he said, yes, he is doing very well. It is very pleasing that his rehab is going in the right direction. I expect him soon. But what I mean by soon is that he is now in the right planning process. He is in the right spot, and he will return as soon as possible into the squad and then the team training. So Euro still has a little bit to go, a little while to go, but he is on the correct path, which is good to hear. No rushing players back. I'm here. If it takes him a little bit longer, I'm here for it. I think, again, I said it before, I think we have a strong enough squad to be able to getting the results now. We are not desperate. We don't need to be rushing any players back, especially the younger players. I seen something today Somebody did actually a wonderful video on Wonder Kids, and you know how there's always a lot of hype around Wonder Kids, and it's good. It's a win-win for everybody except for the Wonder Kid themselves, because what happens is they end up playing a ton of matches at a very very young age, and when they get into the later stages of their career, they usually end up falling apart because they've overworked their bodies at a very young age, and you know they just cripple apart. You know, by the time they get to the age of 30, they're really really a mess. You know, there's, you know, we saw a drop off in Rooney when he got to that age. He played a lot of matches when he was young. Neymar played a lot of matches when he was like 18, 19, 20, etc. And now Neymar can't stay fit for his life, and he's a paper mache. Um, you know, there's a lot of players like that. And I think, you know, when you have these younger players, you really do have to look out for them. You have to manage their workload properly. And one comes into mind right now is Kobe Mainu. I mean, Kobe Mainu is playing a lot of matches and a lot of minutes. And, you know, he's only going to play more because now he's being put into the starting 11 for England. You know, so we really have to look after these younger players because, you know, while it's good in the immediate term, there later down the line we can really really lose a talented and good player just to age and overuse. So, you know, we have to look after them. La is saying he saw clips of yours rehab. Our boy is back soon. Well, I hope so. I'm excited to see him. And uh Ray's saying we are changing too much in the midfield. Uh maybe we are, maybe we are, but I think he's trying to find that balance. I mean, uh, there is slight problems in that midfield where you know, Barte's trying to get integrated. He does, according to Ten Hag, he didn't have like the fitness or whatever it is. So I think hopefully, soon rather than later, that we will find kind of that consistency in the midfield. But yeah, that's something else that we need to, we really need to nail down is that the rotation. You got to get the rotation correctly. You can't chop and change too much. You can't overuse the players, because then we'll get injuries and probably poor performances as well. But uh, yeah, that's something that we need to nail down as well. So let's see how it goes. I don't expect it to continue all season, because that would just lead to failure. We can't do that. And Ray's saying from game to game we always have a different midfield. Yeah, right now I think we do. I think in the beginning we had a certain midfield. Mount got injured. Shit started to change. Ugarte wasn't necessarily available. Well, he didn't sign yet. Then he signed. Then he wasn't available. Now he's come in. Then Casemiro played like shit. So yeah, I mean the only constants really is Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainu. Those are the only constants. I expect Ugarte to nail down that spot. Um, and now Ericsson has come in as well. So I think he's really trying to find out what. Maybe he doesn't know what is his best midfield, which is actually a big problem. But he has to, if he doesn't, he has to figure that out because we can't just keep chopping and changing the midfield. It is the engine of the team. It is, in my opinion, probably the most important area on the pitch. They do both sides of the game. And if you don't have a midfield, you're fucked. So, yeah, I think Ray is right in that aspect. Um, but we do have another injury update on Luke Shaw. This coming from Laurie Whitwell, saying Manchester United are clearly treating Luke Shaw very carefully because of the amount of times that he has broken down previously. They are being extra cautious, and probably rightfully so because we all know how horrendous. Unfortunately, Luke Shaw's, I don't take joy in saying that, but his injury record is absolutely horrendous. He's never completed a season for Manchester United. He's never completed one full season. And we do need to take probably extra precaution. And again, I'm here for it. I'm here with the patience on these injuries. I'd rather them take extra precaution and a little bit longer than try and rush these players back in any way in any aspect because we don't need re-injuries. Re-injuries are probably worse than the initial injuries because they usually end up being out for longer than when they sustain the initial injury. So I am here for Luke Shaw being, his return being prolonged. If that means that, he's less susceptible to get an injury that's going to take him out for longer, because I still do worry, and I still do think at this moment in time that he will get re-injured some point in the season. But if that means that it's only, a week or two instead of a month or two, then I'm here for it. So, I want to see Luke Shaw back on the pitch. I think he's obviously, it's important that we get our left backs back, because right now, we don't have left back and we're playing Delo at left back, which he's not playing bad, but I would just like the balance in the squad in the back to be complete, where we have two right backs and two left backs, or at least one left back and two right backs. That way we could kind of interchange and we would be a little bit more balanced. We can rotate a little bit more properly, give rest to some players, because right now Maz and Delo, they're playing a lot of minutes and there's no choice. There's no backups for them. There's no, subbing them out to give them a little bit of rest and manage their minutes. They're really the only options we have. So the faster they come back, the better. But we also have to, just keep in mind that, we don't want them to get re-injured. So Ten Hag, talking about the Spurs match, saying that he thinks it will be a very intense game. It always is against Tottenham, and I think it is also our style as well, which has been mentioned in the chat. So I think it is going to be a very dynamic, attractive game. And I hope so, but I hope it's in our favor, Erik. I do. I hope it's, in our favor, that it's dynamic and attractive. I hope that, we win the match and that we play dynamic and attractive. I hope we don't get outplayed. But I do agree that, for things that we mentioned before, the spacing, Tottenham plays a high line. We like space. We like when teams give us space. We struggle, and we look very lackluster when teams set up in a very defensive block and structure. So, I think I expect it to be a very good match, exciting match. I think there's going to be, chances on both ends, and I just hope that we come out on top. I'm hoping for a 2-1. I'm hoping for a 2-1. So, Ten Hag also said, it's always an attacking, open, intense match. Both teams think about attacking, so there are always spaces. Of course, we want to control the match, and we'll do everything to do so. It's a big challenge against Tottenham, and it is a big challenge against Tottenham because of the way they play. They could hurt us. They're threatening, and if we're not on it, we will be punished and we will lose the match. So we have to be on top of our game. We have to be attacking. We have to be intense. And we do have to control the match as well, while still playing in a fast attacking manner. We cannot play, like we did against Twente or Crystal Palace. Slow, take too long on the ball, very stagnant at times. We need to be constantly creating chances. We constantly need to be putting pressure on Tottenham. If we're not at least surpassing them, we need to be matching them in the match, because I expect it to come from them. I expect them to do that to us. And obviously, I want to see us handle it well and defend well and, win the ball back in key areas and stuff like that. But we need to do the same, because if we don't show up in that aspect tomorrow, we will lose. We will lose 100%. They will punish us. So yeah. And just on the XG that Lyle was talking about earlier, Manchester United. No, this isn't XG. This is actually the defensive, the defensive stats. I thought it was XG. Manchester United were conceding 6.6 shots per game across all competitions last season, and so far this season, it's down to just 8.5 this term. So huge improvements in the back, which we talked about earlier. That the defense is looking much better, which is very encouraging. Very encouraging. We just need to figure out the offensive part, and we'll be looking very good. So, yeah, you could see that the improvement in. I mean, just the eye test alone, with your eyes, you could tell that we are much better defensively than we were last season. Like way better. We're about 50. That's like 50% improvement. Um, and and we just need to get the goals in the back of that. That's all. So and then Laurie, well, also just saying that I think Erik Ten Hag would be under enormous pressure if he loses against Spurs, Villa, and Porto. I mean, just to banter him for a second, slow sports news, obviously, but I just to bring this up because I think it is a good sentiment to talk about. He will be under enormous pressure if he loses tomorrow, and then against Villa he'll be even under more enormous pressure. And if against Porto, the whole situation is gonna flip on his head. There will be so many people calling for him to be sacked. Uh, you know, so this is what I'm saying. Like these matches, we need to win. And while I want all these things that I talked about, I will take the 1-0 against Spurs because we need the 3 points. And if we can get a 1-0 against Villa or whatever, if that happens in that manner, I'll take that as well because we need the 3 points. Ten Hag needs the 3 points. Everybody needs the 3 points. If we lose all three of them, like Axe is saying, oh boy, because we're in the club itself is in big trouble in terms of the season, but Erik Ten Hag is in a giant pile of shit if that happens. Um, and it's gonna be ugly and dirty. So this is why Erik Ten Hag has to deliver. That's why the thumbnail is titled that because it's time. These matches are big matches, and this is the time. He has to deliver on these matches, otherwise he's gonna be screwed, and we're gonna be screwed. So this is the time. This is the hot seat. The hot seat at Manchester United is on fire right now. And either you're gonna get burned alive, or you're gonna quell those flames. It is what it is, and we'll judge him based on the outcomes. And we go from there, and that's it. So a little bit, just a slight news from the Tottenham end. Son was forced off the field due to injury against Arabag the other night. This tweet was made, probably 2 days ago, I think. And they faced Manchester United on Sunday. Now, I think Postacoglu put an update saying that he did slightly train. It's kind of like a last minute decision. I expect Son to play, but Son might not be 100%. He might be off his game. So this might be good for us. It might help us out. Um, we have to see obviously when we get to the match. But I do expect Son to play. I don't think Son will be out of the match, but he might just not be 100%. So that might be something that helps us out when we play because obviously Son is their best player in the club. He is their most important player and he is their captain. So, if a player like Son isn't 100% and doesn't perform to his best, it's only a positive for us. So we got to keep an eye out for that. But yeah. And then a couple days ago, I just wanted to bring these things in. They're a little bit of loose end things, and then we could kind of talk a little bit more about Spurs. Um, Omar Barada. This was reported that executive Omar Barada has told the staff that he aims to win the Premier League title in 2028 for the 150th anniversary of the club being formed. Um, Omar Barada addressed United employees during a meeting at Old Trafford last Wednesday and mapped out the ambitions shared by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the football hierarchy. Barada informed the staff of Project 150, it is being coined, so called because it coincides with a major milestone of United's existence. So, you know, uh, there's no mistake that the hierarchy above Erik Ten Hag, um, they want to win the Premier League. They're aiming high, and they're planning to do it with or without him, regardless. If he's here or not. So the pressure, even more, coming probably, from the hierarchy itself, along with all the other aspects that we talked about. You know, he's got to have to perform because they're planning. They want to win it in 2028. According to them, they have their project, they have their plan. And if Ten Hag isn't moving the club in that direction, then Ten Hag will no longer be here and he will be gone, and somebody else will be in that position to see if they can bring this vision or their plan to fortune. So there is even pressure from up above. While there is pressure from all around. And Fabrizio did come up with this update saying that Manchester United keeps trusting Erik Ten Hag. I want to give him time. It's going to be important to have all the players back as soon as possible, 100% fit. And while it is important to have all the players 100% fit, I think we have enough players right now that we should be performing better. And we should be getting better results. So obviously, getting all the players back 100% fit is important. It's gonna, elevate us even better. But I think currently, right now, I think we have a strong enough squad to be able to get the results that we want and perform better than we have been. So yeah, that's I think that's just a given. If you guys haven't, please smash the like button for me. I greatly appreciate it. I see that we've got some likes on there already. So if you smashed it, thank you very much because it helps out the channel a lot and I greatly appreciate it. So, and if you want, please subscribe if you want to be part of our community. We always have lovely discussions. You can see all of our community members getting involved in here. And if you haven't, vote in the poll. We got a poll running on, Erik Ten Hag and what you think about his status. So vote in the poll, and we'll talk about that before we end the show. Noah Thederos is in here saying Erik Ten Hag should get sacked, in my opinion. Erik Ten Hag out. Well, that's perfectly fine. Noah, do you want to give a little bit more as to why? Just so we can, have a discussion about it and elaborate on it. Because, that is your viewpoint. You're allowed to have that viewpoint. I'm not there yet. And there's a couple of us that aren't there yet, in the community. But I would love to hear why. Just your reasoning, we're not here to shut you down or anything like that. I just want to hear a good opposing viewpoint is all. And Axe is saying, is he slightly telling us he might sack Erik Ten Hag at the end of the season? Usually it takes 3 years to rebuild the squad. It's a good point. It's a good point, Axe. It is. I didn't really think of it in that way. And I think it definitely is a possibility because I think for Erik Ten Hag, and I said this before, and I think we've all agreed on this, right? I think that you kind of have to show that you're moving in the direction you're pushing the club in the direction to win the league in 2028, which would probably mean an improved table, an improved performance in the table, so not finishing 8th. Definitely has to get into Champions League, and if he could get the Europa League or another trophy or something like that, I think all those things, he has to do something in that manner. I think if we don't get in Champions League, if we don't finish in top 4, or we don't win the Europa League, I think he's probably will get sacked, because they will view that as not the progression that they're shooting for. I'm sure, Omar Barada has set goals along with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir David Brailsford, etc. There is goals, there is targets, and if they don't hit those goals and targets, it is seen as a failure, and they will move to change the direction because they demand that improvement. And if we don't see that improvement, they will have to change that. So I think what he's saying, Axe, more likely than not, is that is our main goal, and that is our project. 2028, we want to win the Premier League. They've set that as the goal. Whether that's actually achievable or not is yet to be seen. But at the very least, that means that we would be there challenging for it. Whether we win it or not would be a different story. But we would be there, and we would be the main challengers till the very end of the season, for the Premier League. If we're not moving in that direction from this period going forward, then Erik Ten Hag would end up getting sacked, for sure. So, 100%. Yeah, I mean, his job is on the line based on his, it is a performance-based, it is a results-based game. So, Lions is saying Ten Hag in. He's in here. Well, the poll right now, if I could see it. So we have, the poll says, should Erik Ten Hag be given more time at Manchester United? We have 4 options. Yes, as much time as he needs. That's at 33%. No, it's time for a change. That's at 24%. Only if results improve from here, which is at 29%, which is a little bit more surprised because I felt like that was probably going to be the highest one, but it's not. And the last one is I don't know. Next few games are crucial, which is at 14%. So it's actually pretty well spread out, which is actually very interesting. It just shows you the dynamic of this discussion, that it's very divided. There's no like overwhelming majority. And in our community and people that have tuned in here and have voted, the majority is saying that they would give him as much time as he needs. So Ten Hag still has a lot of support, a lot of backing. People still do believe in him at this moment, and I'm sure depending on the results, that can change drastically. But right now, yeah, very surprising that it's actually that split. Just shows you how divided this and how controversial this topic is. There's a lot of different thought processes into it and stuff like that. I'm just checking to see if we got any news. So not Manchester United related specifically Manchester United, but it does impact Manchester United in a way. There's breaking news saying the Premier League clubs agree on plan to close the summer transfer window before the season begins. So the summer window will close on August 15th before the start of the 25-26 season, which means that next season, before the season starts, the transfer window in the Premier League will officially close. It will no longer go to September 1st, as it has been for many years, which does put a lot more pressure on Ineos and Manchester United, and all the other Premier League clubs to get their deals done a lot quicker. Now there are some benefits because you can have that means if you are capable of doing your business quicker, you should have your players in a lot quicker. That means that there should be more players probably available for your preseason, and they should be a lot more available from the beginning of the season, which means they'll probably be better integrated and stuff like that. So, it doesn't disrupt the team too much because also, sometimes there's outgoings, and there's clubs that, they have a player, they don't expect them to leave, they have a problem with the player, they end up losing the player, they can't replace the player, and the season has already started and they get in a fucked situation. So there's probably some positives, there's also probably some negatives on both sides on that. That's very interesting. Wasn't expecting that to come today. But yes, the Premier League clubs have agreed to close the transfer window starting next summer window on August 15th before the start of the season. So can and will have huge impacts. 100%. So, uh, you know, we'll talk about the Tottenham match a little bit. And while Tottenham's attacking stats are impressive, we can look to exploit their defensive lapses, because Tottenham, they do play the high defensive line, and Tottenham's away form has been patchy under Postecoglou. So United could capitalize on any like inconsistency in that area. Also, we historically perform good against Tottenham. I mean, probably not of recently. It's been a little dodgy, but if we want to get into that, so far, Tottenham are on a three win streak. Manchester United have no losses in 4 matches. Um, Tottenham's matches have been over 2.5 goals. So, there's been goals on both sides for them. They have been the first to concede, which is good for us, if we can actually score our goals. They have been first to concede in 4 out of their 5 last matches. Now Tottenham do have, a lot of corners. 7 out of their 7 last matches, the match does have over 10.5 corners, which shows their attacking intent. Head to head, Tottenham haven't lost in 3 straight matches against us. And we have been without a clean sheet in 3 matches versus Tottenham. which is going to be interesting because we talked about how good we've improved defensively, and we are home. And Tottenham are struggling away from home, and under Postecoglou, they don't have the best away record. Um, 6 out of the 8 games that we've played, uh, there have been over 2.5 goals. So there has been goals scored. There will be opportunities. It will be attacking. It will be dynamic. I expect it to be. 5 out of the 6 matches that we play Tottenham, we have scored the first goal, which is a good indication because Tottenham are conceding the first goal four out of the 5 last matches just for themselves, and then we when we play them, we have scored the first goal 5 out of the 6 matches. So that's an encouraging stat. So if we could get the first goal, um that'll put us in a great position. And then we just have to not do what we done last match and the match before, and matches in previous season where we kind of just fall off and drop off. We need to keep our foot on the gas pedal and go down. Manager head to head, Ten Hag has Ten Hag and Postecoglou have drawn one time, and Postecoglou has beaten Ten Hag one time. Ten Hag has 0 wins against Postecoglou so far. For the clubs, Manchester United have 11 wins in more recent times, 3 draws, and Spurs have won 6 times. So the last time we played them, which was in January of 24, we tied 2-2. We were home. When we played Tottenham at Spurs Stadium, they beat us 2-0. And the season before that, which was Erik Ten Hag's first season, we drew Tottenham 2-2 at Spurs Stadium, and we beat Tottenham 2-0. We beat Tottenham 2-0. And Postecoglou wasn't the manager yet. So yeah, all good things there. Some encouraging stats for us. I think if we could get the first goal, let me pull up the chat. Um, Lions asking what has he missed, and we have to back Erik Ten Hag. He will get it together soon. Well, Lions, just to recap, basically we just did quotes from Erik Ten Hag at the press conference. They asked him things like on the inconsistency, and if he thinks that Manchester United should be further progressed than they are currently, and what has gone wrong. And essentially, he's saying that we need to score goals. We're not scoring the goals. We need to get the goals. So and Ray's saying we are still in preseason because we got everybody late. Well, there was some of that was out of our control, right? Basically because of like the international matches. I don't know what's going on with my hair, but yeah. So some of that was out of our control because of the international matches. You have to, you know, accordingly rest the players and integrate the players and get the players back to a spot where they're get them ready for the season. One or two players, Ugarte specifically, we signed him late, so we're a little bit late on that. But I don't know. I do agree with you that we do seem like we're still trying to like. It almost seems like we didn't really have a preseason, and that we're still trying to find our feet, which is not good. And I don't understand it. Especially because Erik Ten Hag's first season when he came in, he was so strict and adamant about having all the players in before the preseason, having everybody ready to go. And we started a little slow there too, but then we did find our feet more quickly. And we were very, very strong. And then last season was similar to this season in terms of the preseason wasn't the greatest. And then we went into the league and we started very, very poorly and we were struggling. And then it all fell apart with the injuries and everything just kind of went to a disaster. And right now we're in that period where we're teetering on a seesaw right now. And it could go up, it could go down. We're kind of in the middle. It hasn't gone completely to shit, but it's not going great yet. And it could go either way. So this is a make or break position we're in right now. So we just have to get the job done. We have to get it done. I lost what I was looking at here. Okay. there's an expectation, uh, you know, there's an expectation that, because Tottenham's attacking philosophy, it might play into our hands if we could capitalize on the spaces left behind, and we talked about that before. So it's going to be interesting to see what Postacoglu does about that, because I think everybody's well aware that Tottenham does leave spaces. We do like to do some balls over the top when we are given the opportunity. We have been very effective at that at times. Sometimes, not so good. But usually you would say, if Manchester United is given space and especially in behind, we're usually very effective in that area. We do become more dangerous and we do usually capitalize. So it's going to be interesting to see how Postacoglu sets up and what he's going to do to try and counter that or negate that. And we're going to see, how effective we're going to be in that aspect, because I do expect some long balls over the top tomorrow, especially to Marcus Rashford making that diagonal run in from the left. And I think hopefully, Rashford kind of playing like he's got a little bit of a point to prove. Um, there was times where where we were giving in those balls. The last season, very disappointing. His touches were poor. His first touch was poor. His confidence was low. So I hope tomorrow we don't really see that. I hope his touches are on point, because I think it's going to be very important. I think he will get an opportunity. I think he will get one or two chances out of that, and he has to be on his game. The first touch he takes is going to have to be absolutely on point, and then I want to see the confidence. I hope he has the confidence in him still, to put that ball away, because he will get a big opportunities and chances from that. Um, so we're coming off a goalless draw against Crystal Palace last time in the league. So we need to see if we could find some goals. We scored one only against Twente, which isn't great because we were home. But they did play a little bit. They played more defensive than Spurs played. Uh, so I expect to see more chances, and hopefully that means more goals, because I think we did well to create a good amount of chances, and we've been doing good to create a good amount of chances in the matches we played so far. We just haven't scored. So I think hopefully, if the math adds up correctly, if we're able to create even more chances than we've averaging, then hopefully we could get an extra goal or two out of that as well. Um, Tottenham, and like Tottenham statistics, their attacking intent with high numbers in touches in the attacking third, successful take-ons, and shot creating actions. Um, they'll look to dominate the possession and create the chances themselves. So that's also going to be another battle. Who's going to control this match? Because Tottenham, they do play in that way. They do like to dominate and control the match as well. And obviously we're home, and Ten Hag obviously sets us up to hold possession and control the match as well. So I think that's going to be another interesting battle. And I think it's going to be an important battle, because um, we obviously we don't want to see Tottenham controlling the match at Old Trafford. Now that it might still help us, because if Tottenham are controlling the match and we can counter attack, and hit them well on the counter, and score out of that, then we might win the match in that manner. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll lose just because Tottenham might dominate the match in that aspect. We could still win, because there's different ways to win. But we obviously all want to see, us, you know, control the possession, dictate the match, and just be strong and look dangerous and score goals. Um, and the pressure that it puts on Ten Hag, for a win at home might influence, his tactical setup. Um, maybe he leans more towards a secure win rather than an all-out attack. Kind of something that we saw when we played Liverpool. He did kind of go for it against Liverpool. We got absolutely just outclassed by Liverpool. We were outbeaten. We looked way off of it. So maybe he tries to do it again against Tottenham. Now there were a couple more matches in, but we haven't been in the most confident of spaces. So maybe he does, not go so all out attack, with the highest of line and the highest of pressing and stuff like that. And maybe he does try to go for a more, to try and just secure the win rather than, beat Spurs 3-0, for example. And we got to see who's gonna start tomorrow's match. I think, in my opinion, probably saying Cassidy saying this channel is so dead. So why you here, bro? Why you here, bro? Why you here? You dead too. You dead too, bro. You got no life. You here commenting in a dead channel. Bye bye. Go. Leave. 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 We don't want you, bro. I'm here. I'm enjoying talking to my community and my people that enjoy talking to me. So you're here and just being a weirdo. You know what I mean? Goldbridge wannabe. Yeah. Well, you know what's gonna happen to you? You're gone, bro. You're gone. You are gone. You are gone. Bye. Bye bye, Aiden. Bye bye. We don't have time for your bullshit. Anyway, Ray saying, I hope we don't play boys over the top. We're going back to play under Ollie. Balls not okay. Oh, I hope we don't play balls over the top. We're going to back to play under Ollie. I mean, but it can be effective, Ray. It can be effective if they give us the space. I don't think we should do it the entire match. I don't think it should be like, the complete gameplay. We shouldn't be sitting there, doing we shouldn't just be hitting long balls. It has to be a good mixture. If there's the opportunity to hit one or two, definitely take it, because I think, we are dangerous from that. And when we're on our game, we are good at that. And it does lead to some very good opportunities. But we shouldn't just be trying to do that the entire match, because then obviously it becomes very predictable. And especially if it's not coming off, then we're not going to create much. We kind of have to mix it up. We need to get a good balance from it. So, for sure, yeah, I think we do need to, just do something like that. Um, yeah, we can't be just hitting long bulls over the top the entire match. I don't want to see that either. But if we mix it up, I think it's good to put it in there for sure. And maybe we could maybe play a false nine in some sort. I think Xerxes gonna start tomorrow. Um, but we might play a false nine because we might, if we are gonna try and expose them over their high line, we might go for the speed up top, play a false nine, and allow the wingers to really make the darting diagonal runs in there. So, yeah, I think could be something there then. Grace. Grace, you missed Aiden, who got blocked. Probably a Barnet fan. Nah, just some idiot came in here. I timed him out, Grace. If you know how to like actually ban him from ever coming in here again, because I couldn't do it. I don't know if you could see his name though, but yeah, I can't. I couldn't actually ban him, so I don't know. But if you could figure that out, that would be cool. But yeah, just some idiot came in here, said the channel was dead. Doesn't make sense. You come in here to say that. Called me a wannabe Goldbridge. Like, I don't know what you're doing in here. The channel's dead. Why are you in here? So, and I love it. I love it. I love when the haters come in here. There's just people out there that are just, they're idiots. They're idiots. And they got nothing better to do with their lives. So, um, we're gonna come to an end in a little bit. Probably about 5 minutes, because I think we've gone through everything. I'm just checking to see if we got any like updates while we went live. Other than the Premier League updates, because I gotta go take some care of some things. But it's been a very, very good show. We're missing Richard. Richard hasn't been here for 2 shows. I hope he's all right. I hope everything's okay. I hope he's just somewhere, drinking his beer and enjoying himself. So hopefully we'll see him on the next one. But yeah, I think predicted lineup. I want to see. Let me just see. trying to think. Like, let's see. No, absolutely not. I'm not. So probably looking at like Rashford, Xerxes, Ahmad, Bruno, Manu, and I would say Ugarte. I don't think Christian Eriksen would do us a lot of favor in this match. I think we need Ugarte to win the ball back. Ugarte or Casemiro, for sure. I would even. I mean, there's so many things you could do. Really, if you weren't Erik Ten Hag and you were going to stick with Bruno Fernandes, because you could technically play. Because I think it's a shame if you leave Kobe out, because I think Kobe is just that good, and he provides a lot on both sides of the game, and I think he's intelligent. But you could also go Ugarte, Casemiro, Bruno, um, and then have Ugarte more as like the ball winner, and then Casemiro maybe like helping a little bit more in the passes. But maybe that's a little bit too defensive. Um, I would probably do Bruno Mano and one of Ugarte or Casemiro because I think we need and it would probably be Ugarte because Ugarte has the legs and he needs to win the ball and we got to get Mano to be the facilitator. Um, for building the attack. Obviously, Delo is going to start on the left because we have no other option. Maz is going to start on the right because we have no other option. And I expect Lisandro Martinez and Delit to be back at the center back partnership. And obviously, of course, Andre Onana in goal. The only thing that might be different, maybe Xerxes up top. Maybe we do some sort of a false nine. Maybe Bruno goes up there, and Mount goes in where Bruno is, or Ericsson or something like that. I could see that happening too. Maybe that's a possibility. But with Erik Ten Hag, you just never know. Every time you think you got him figured out and you got his lineup figured out, he always does something different or weird or strange that you weren't really expecting. So, um, but yeah, I'm seeing a lot of. Somebody put out an interesting lineup. No, this was for a different match. Sorry. Somebody actually put out the same lineup I just said. So, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any opinions on your thing? Um, Axe is always saying Goldberg is toxic. Throw the gold off the bridge. The channel that is. Grace saying I'll find his address. We won't hear from him again. I don't know if we're allowed to say that, Grace, but we're a small channel, so we'll get away with it. We'll get away with it because that might be considered threats. YouTube policy, but you're in the chat, so I'm not saying it. Um, you know, um, Line saying you're going to send him an envelope filled with poopy. She's to send him a love letter. Yes. Line saying we should give that young left back. We have a shot. The young one from preseason. Yeah, Harry Almaz. I don't know why, Lyle, but he just hasn't been involved. And he keeps playing in the under 18s or under 21s, whatever it is. So clearly, whether that's solely a decision from Ten Hag or whether that's a decision with the staff and it was like a unified decision. They clearly don't think that he's ready. Or they've decided that for his development, it's best if he continues to play for the youth setup and not be pushed into the the first team. So I think he was very good in the preseason. He showed he was good. He showed a lot of promise. And I thought maybe that he might just break in a little bit, but they've decided that that's not the route that they want to go down. Now maybe it's because both Shaw and Malasia are coming back and they expect him to be fit and ready to go and stay fit for a while, and they seemed it as like we're gonna pull this kid up, we're gonna disrupt him from the good progress that he's making with the setup that he's in, that he's used to right now. We're gonna pull him up, we're gonna put him in there, and then once Sean Malasia back, he ain't gonna get any game time pretty much, so we're gonna have to send him back down. So maybe they seen it as disruptive. And maybe they're looking out for him a little bit more than they are, selfishly looking at just the you know the senior squad. And they were like, well, we could just cope with it for now. It shouldn't be too long, and we'll figure it out, so maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get that opportunity anytime soon. Now maybe later on in the season, if something happens to one of Shaw or Malacio or both, and they, if they're out for quite some time or something like that, then we might have to call him up, and maybe he's progressed a little bit further down that aspect as well. So it would be good. So yeah, Mansoor Eric. I like that one. Never been called Mansoor before, but I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just kind of, it's kind of just what it seems like to me, because I think he showed a lot of promise, and he seems like he has, like, the good potential ability, and he has the raw ability, but he's just not really been given like that push up front. And I would like to think, because I'm not trying to be narcissistic or anything, um, or whatever it is, nepotism, whatever the word is. I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to think that there's something sinister going on. I just think that maybe they kind of looked at it and they're just like, while we could use him here and we could give him an opportunity, it would kind of be fucked up for him too if we do that to him, and maybe it would hurt his growth. There's a potential to disrupt him, and he's doing good. Any news on Gore? Well, Gore came back last time. He was like in the under 21 squad. I don't think he participated though, as far as I know, because I didn't see anything saying that he played any minutes, but he was like involved in the squad. So he is on his way back. So that's something else that we can also look at, and maybe that, he might be able to come into the team at some period of time later on in the season as well. He does have kind of a long road for himself because he did have a bad injury. He had surgery, so it's going to take him some time to match fitness and sharpness, and back up to speed and make sure that he doesn't suffer another injury, a reoccurring one or a different one. So he was out for a while, so it's going to be a little bit of a long recovery, a long road back to his, I guess, his peak. um but it's good that he's back, and as long as he's on that journey, he will get there in due time, and everything is temporary. So we'll see, how it goes. Al Gore, no, not Al Gore. um Ray's saying this is up to the players to put a good shift, play hard for the badge. Yeah, I think they'll be up for it tomorrow, Ray. I think tomorrow is one of those things that oh, did we lose audio? Lost audio. Audio? Back. Are we back? Can you guys hear me? Or did we lose the audio? Because I can't hear. So I don't know what happened. Audio is cool. Alright, so it's just me. I don't know what happened. Very strange. Alright, so yeah, why can't I hear the audio? Oh, alright. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. So yeah, no, back to Ray's point though. Yeah, I think tomorrow, I think we will see from the players, that because to them it is a big match. It's going to be an important match. I think they're going to be, a little bit more excited for it and riled up. And I think based on the, past performances, the past couple performances, I think we're gonna see, at least I would like, a little bit more intensity, a little bit more just fire from them, a little bit more intent to really go out there in the match, win the match, and just play well, and have that attacking intent. So something that we've been pretty critical of the last couple matches, because they didn't really show it. There's, when we're playing Crystal Palace, they're playing very slow. They look a little bit uninspired in terms of, to go win the match. There wasn't as much urgency, I think, as we normally would like to see. And then even against Twente, when we went down, I think we saw a similar thing to the Crystal Palace thing. And I think tomorrow, I think the intensity will be there. I think because this match, the hype around this match is built up, and I'm expecting to see the players, just be out there and giving 110%. I don't if we see anything similar to what we've seen against Twente in the second half or Crystal Palace. Number one, I think, we'll probably lose because Tottenham will just probably rip us apart because I expect them to be on their game. I mean, Tottenham could show up and they could be piss poor tomorrow. Their away record isn't the greatest, but if we're not on our game, we're not matching the intensity and the levels and the urgency and stuff like that. And Tottenham are coming as their usual selves, they will probably rip us apart. So, and Line saying I think it's a must-win game. It's absolutely a must-win game. Not just to shut them up, not just to shut them up, Lions. Not just to shut up the noise, but because we need it. I mean, look at the league table. Look at the position we're in. We are in 11th. Tottenham are in 10th. We both have 7 points, right? And if we don't win, we're gonna stay there. Tottenham are gonna shoot up to 8th, 1 point behind Newcastle, and we're gonna be, right now we are 6 points off of top four, off of Chelsea. Chelsea are in 4th place with 13 points, so we need to win, just to keep ourselves in the mix. I mean, if we don't win, not only the noise, but just the league table position is going to be bad because we also then have to go play Villa, and Villa are in 5th, and Villa are 1 point behind Chelsea. And they still need to play tomorrow. So, Villa's going to move, if Villa win, they're going to move up the table. They could go up to second place, ahead of Manchester City, actually. So, the Villa match is going to be a very tough match as well, which is why it's important we get these 3 points tomorrow because we don't know what we're going to get out of the Aston Villa game, and the Aston Villa game is going to be a much harder match than the Tottenham matches, in my opinion. So, and yeah, I understand. You prefer not to look at the league table. Yeah, I get it. I get it. So, and Ray's saying, I am Erik Ten Hag in, but I have to see him substitution tomorrow. I hope he drop players that don't perform. Well, yeah, I mean, we would all like to see that, but at the end of the day, I think just more importantly, we would like to see a performance from the team, and we would like to get a win. I think that's the more important thing. Think while those things are issues, they're a little bit more minor, and when it comes down to crunch time, at this moment, while I do agree that he does have to sub the players that are, or drop them out that are not performing. Our main focus is that we win, we score goals, and we get 3 points tomorrow. And the rest, everything else, is underneath that. So, yeah. So very good, very very good show. Cass going to start, you think? I don't think so. I mean he might Lion, he might, but I don't. I listen because we have a lot of options in the midfield. You could do a numerous amount of things. Like I just said, we could play Bruno as a false nine. He could, Xerxes could not start the match. He could put Mount where Bruno plays, and he could play a number of options. He could play Maino and Ugarte. He could play Maino and Casemiro. He could play Ugarte and Casemiro. He could play Ugarte and Ericsson. He could play Maino and Ericsson. He can. Now, I think some of the options are better than others, but again, with Erik Ten Hag, you never actually know exactly what he's planning and what he's thinking. Every time you think, surely he has to go, and, surely this player has to start, and surely that player is going to start, and, you see the lineup, and you're like, oh, shit, he's put this guy in, or, wow, he's gone with, because I think a lot of people are expecting Ugarte and Menu to play, with obviously Bruno. And then when we get the lineup, it might be Ugarte and Casemiro, or he might play Mano and Casemiro, and you go, oh wow, like wasn't really expecting that. I really thought he was gonna play Kobe and Ugarte. So I'm just trying to see. I mean, I'm just trying to think, but there's so many possibilities, and you just never really know what he's actually going to do because he's constantly looking at all types of statistics and shit like that. So he might, obviously we're not analyzing the data to probably the extent that him and the team are. So maybe they see something and they, and then they put it in a specific player for a specific reason, based on the game plan. Um, but for me, I would personally put in Ugarte, and Mano. That's what I would do because I think Ugarte has the legs. I don't think Cass necessarily has the legs, but you can also at the same time put in Mano and Cass and then just sub Casemiro off, later on when he would probably start getting tired. I just worry because I think that, because Tottenham are so dynamic and they play quick and they play high. I feel like Cass would be the one that's most likely to get more exposed and beaten, compared to Ugarte. So yeah, that's why I would probably go with Ugarte and Mano. But I don't know 100% exactly what he's going to do. Ray's saying he's predicting we're going to win, with the next 4 matches. Well, I hope you're right because that would be absolutely amazing and awesome. And hopefully, you are right. Because last time you were saying that we were going to win the FA Cup for like about 2-3 weeks, and we ended up winning it. So I hope you're right again, Ray. Because we could definitely use it, and Ten Hag could definitely use it, and we need it. We need it. So, and Axe saying, would you people put Casemiro in considering is our second toughest match after the Liverpool one? Well, that's what I was kind of saying. Lyons says he would stick with Cass. Yeah, I mean, hindsight is always the best thing. So we don't really know. I mean, you could put Cass in, he could have a fantastic game, and it could be the correct choice. Or you could put Cass in, he could have a shit game, he could get absolutely beaten. Um, I'm just going off of the top of my head, and I'm thinking, Cass is a little bit slower. He does have less legs, and I'm just thinking the way Tottenham play football, and the way they're that quick. I would be a little bit worried with Casemiro there, and hopefully, if he is there, he would be a top class Casemiro performance, and I wouldn't be so worried. But I just, Casemiro, especially at this age, you just never know. You just never know. He could show up and be Liverpool Casemiro, or he could show up and be the Casemiro that we've known for basically his whole career, and why we loved him, when his first season. So, um, Gray's saying we're winning the league. We're winning the league. We're Manchester United, and we're winning the league. And then Lines is asking Europa League. That would do. Yeah, I mean for this season, definitely Champions League. Definitely Champions League. We got to get into the Champions League. So somehow, one way or another, for sure. But I'm gonna end it there because we've been live long enough. We will be live tomorrow after the match, of course, with the Red Devil recap, as we always are. So I look forward to seeing you, discussing the match with you guys, and hopefully we can be on here celebrating a win against Tottenham Hotspur. I'm gonna go for a 2-1. 2-1 scoreline, Manchester United. I think that's probably maybe the most likely. Maybe 2-0. Maybe 2-0. Maybe we surprise because I think the defense has been good. So maybe we don't concede. But other than that, we will catch you tomorrow after the match again. Probably 30 to 45 minutes after the match. To give me a little bit to set up the show. But we will be live. So Lines is predicting 0-0. I don't like that, Lines. Change it. Change it. I don't like that score. Give us a winning score, Lines. Or you're trying to do reverse psychology. You're trying to do reverse momentum. So yeah, no, I'm only kidding with your Lines. Yeah, but everybody have a good night. Thank you for watching. If you didn't smash the like button, please smash the like button for me. If you enjoyed the content, greatly appreciated. And anybody that's subscribed and is new, we welcome you here, and it was good to have you. And shout out to all of our wonderful people that are usually in here: Lyle, Axe, Ray, Lions, Grace, Stephanie was in here earlier. Daniel was in here, so shout out to everybody. And yeah, and very, very good. Oh, Zadaya is in here. He's saying Tuchel in. You think 2 draws and a loss keeps him in? Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't think I don't think Ineos are gonna press the panic button exactly the way that people are looking at it. Um, but after some point, if it continued this way and we got to like maybe mid-November, he would probably be gone by that time. But it depends what happens. But we'll catch you on the next one. Ziad, we'll be disappointed too. Oh, if you'll be disappointed if Ineos if they keep him. Well, it depends. It depends on the situation. If we're really bad and they keep him, I might be disappointed as well. But I think there's still opportunity to change it around. Ziad, join us tomorrow after the match. We'll be live, and we could talk more. After the match, we're gonna do a Red Devil recap like we always do. So jump in there, and get involved, and we'll look forward to seeing you. I gotta go. Everybody have a good night. We are missing Richard. Hopefully Richard is back joining us. I hope he's all right. I don't know. Maybe he's got something going on, but yeah. I will catch you guys tomorrow after the match. Be good. Have a good night, good morning, good evening, whatever. Wherever you're watching from the world. Stay safe out there, and let's go United. Let's go. We need this win.